Go Dogs. No. Today we're here to talk about the injury report. All right. It's not so much the injury report as it is we're going to talk about how Kirby presented a lot of these players that are coming back from injury. We talked about this before about the off week, the bye week, and how well that's going to benefit us. But to hear it from Kirby, Amarius Mims doing better. All right. If you look at the timetable of him having his surgery, I feel he either is going to get a few snaps in this Florida game, or he's going to get a few snaps next week and be ready for the Missouri game. He may not play the entire Missouri game, but I do think just from that timetable of them talking about, I think it was 18 to 24 days or something like that for recovery. Well, and I get it. He's a bigger guy, so it does take a little more time. We saw that with Darnell. Darnell, it took a little more time because he's just a massive human being. But it's really nice to have Amarius Mims going into the end of the season, especially the SEC championship game. But, I mean, think about that. After Missouri, to be able to have him for Tennessee, to be like – so anyways, that's great. Xavier Truss. Xavier Truss did not have surgery. Yeah, he got banged up. He had an ankle injury, but was practicing last week, okay? So if he was getting snaps last week, that means they are preparing him this week to be able to start. You realize we were out our top two tackles? We literally were out our top two tackles these last, 2 games? Or we were out Amarius Mims for Vanderbilt, and then Xavier Truss goes down in Vanderbilt. Like, that's tough, y'all. And it's because we have depth. We rotate. We have talent, so much talent that it just looks good when we're able to perform even though people get down, or go down. And I'm going to go flashback real quick to Mark Richt's days. I love Mark Richt, but he did not recruit depth. He recruited really good players. But whenever somebody went down, I just remember the atmosphere, the feeling of everybody like, well, there goes the season. Hey, it was a good run, but what can you do about it? Injuries happen. Now, we're down everybody. But still, anyways, all right, so it's nice to have that. 2, or 3. We're Xavier Truss, Amarius Mims, that's good. Roderick Robinson was getting snaps last week, okay? You guys remember Roderick Robinson played a few snaps in the first game, and then I want to say the second and third game got a good number of snaps, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. Well, apparently he had an in-game, like he was banged up a little bit, and then the following week he got injured in practice, and it wasn't enough to, for him to have surgery or anything, but it was enough for him to have to take a week or 2 off. Glad to have him coming back. That's going to be huge. You saw last week or 2 weeks ago against Kentucky when we had Dejon healthy and Kendall healthy and Carson Beck slinging it downfield the way he was. That's opening up the the running game, and we're getting 7-8 yards a carry. Like, that was nice. It was really, really nice, and it's exciting to see Georgia looking like Georgia. All right. And not like we were the first couple of weeks where we're running it up the middle 17 times in a row, but that the past is past. But I'm happy to have Roderick back. I think he's a very underrated back when you look at him, amongst backs in the SEC. He's got this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not Todd Gurley. I'm not saying that. But he has this finesse to him that I remember only from Todd Gurley. Like, a lot of our backs were so downhill. They were one cut, boom, take off. But Todd would fly through holes, but it looked like he was running on a cloud. He's very light-footed, and you see that out of Roderick. And the crazy thing is, I think Roderick Robinson is the heaviest back on our depth chart. Branson Robinson's 225, but he's swole. Of course, he's huge. Roderick's they said he's 235. He came in at 230, got up to 240, and now he's cut weight back down to 235. He's a big dude. But to be a true freshman getting snaps at Georgia, you got to be talented, right? So, or the whole running back room has to be hurt. So, but it's nice to see that. And we got some backs coming into this recruiting class. I think we have 3 of them, which that's awesome to know we're going to have depth. But Roderick, we're going to be happy to have you back. Last but not least, Kendall Milton. He got banged up. I want to say they said he banged up his MCL. Well, last week, he was able to get healthy. They said he was doing a lot of, non-physical, non-contact stuff, which is good. And then Kirby just stated, that he has been taking snaps, which is great for us, okay? Even if that means Kendall, he doesn't have to get a whole lot of snaps in this Florida game, and I know that's going to be Kirby's mindset going into this game. I know it is. He's going to try to do what he can to extend this lead. That way, we don't need all of our weapons and we can rest them another week. Especially people like Kendall Milton that are so experienced. He doesn't need momentum. He doesn't need, he doesn't need a bunch of snaps to get going. He just needs to be healthy. Kendall Milton's had a tough career at Georgia, not being able to stay healthy. We know he's talented. We saw it his very first game against Tennessee, throwing people off of him left and right. He's a talented back, but I think we can all agree we want him healthy, and that's why I'm happy to get Roderick back so Roderick can help out Dejon in those snaps. And we're not playing walk-on running backs. Not that Cash Jones isn't good. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're Georgia. You're the number one team in the country. Like, when's the last time you remember a number one team in the country having two preferred walk-ons playing running back for you, or a preferred walk-on playing quarterback and winning 2 national championships back to back? So, it just looking forward to all of our players coming back. There are other players that I could name, but those were the top 4 I wanted to go on. It's going to be nice to have our offensive line back to full strength. It's going to be nice to get our running back room going. But this game coming up, guys, I think we're about to see the Carson Beck show, which we've already seen it. We've seen it every single week so far. But I think this whole, we need Brock Bowers to be able to do good. Oh, Brock Bowers is the entire team. Guys, Dominic Lovett had nine catches for over 100, whatever he had. And then, was it Marcus Rosemary-Jack Saint last week or 2 weeks ago had 99 yards on a few catches. If Arian Smith could catch the ball, he'd have 1,000 yards on 7 catches. So I'm kidding, by the way. I'm just saying we have weapons. And I think Oscar Delp's going to show up. But we have weapons. Just let's pray for our dogs. Pray for them boys to get healthy. And this second half of the season, baby. All this talk about, this is this and this is that. I don't think anybody's on our level. We haven't even played great, but one game so far. I don't think anybody's on our level. But it's time to get going. It's time to get hot. But anyways, go Dogs.